Welcome back, folks. Today, we're diving into a rather eyebrow raising topic. Trump's recent comment about Epstein stealing people from Mar-a-Lago has been stirring up a storm.
Yep, that's right. It's a statement that's atypical even for Trump, and it's got everyone, from media experts to the public, scratching their heads.
Exactly. What stands out here is that it's not just about a casual remark. It's loaded with political subtext and serves as another chapter in his long-standing narrative around his personal relationships and business dealings.
And then you have Nicole Wallace weighing in on it. She's unpacking what she calls his evasiveness and credibility concerning his Epstein problem.
Right. Wallace points out that Trump's claim that Epstein stole people from his club is, well, kind of a deflection. It almost seems like a tactic to sidestep deeper questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as if he's trying to reframe the narrative entirely. Instead of addressing, the very serious allegations about Epstein, he's focusing on who was allegedly stolen from Mar-a-Lago.
Exactly. It's like he's shifting blame or creating a sort of diversion. And let's not forget, this entire episode has now been further complicated by Joe Rogan's commentary.
Yep, right. Joe Rogan, the influential podcaster, has been tearing apart not just Trump's comment, but also the administration's handling of the Epstein files. That's a powerful crossover between traditional news and the podcasting world.
Absolutely. And it creates a kind of feedback loop where media, political commentary, and internet culture are all overlapping. It's like a modern-day circus of opinions.
So, what do you think is the significance of Trump framing his falling out with Epstein in these terms?
Well, when you examine the rhetoric, it's clear that he's trying to paint himself as a victim, someone who's wronged by Epstein in a personal way. I mean, saying that Epstein stole people is almost a metaphor for betrayal.
Yeah. Yet, doesn't that narrative distract from the gravity of Epstein's documented criminal behavior? I mean, the focus shifts away from the facts to something more abstract.
Exactly, and that's what Wallace is critically analyzing. She's pointing out that his statement obfuscates the real issues. Instead of discussing criminal accountability or the implications of his own interactions, he's choosing to spin a different story.
Right. And this is where it gets interesting because, it's not just about personal vendettas. It intertwines with broader political narratives, like loyalty among influential figures and the messiness of his inner circle.
Absolutely. It's like he's saying, look, I was wronged in a personal way. But if you think about it, it raises the question of what he actually expects from this narrative. Does he want sympathy? Or is it a subtle way to undermine his critics?
I'd argue it might be both. And while his language is deliberately provocative, it also leaves a lot open to interpretation. What do you make of his choice to use the term stole people?
It's a curious choice, isn't it? On one hand, it's incendiary. It gets attention. On the other, it's a weak excuse that doesn't hold up logically when you actually look at the context of the alleged crimes.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And if we look at it from a media perspective, Trump's comment seems designed to create waves and redirect scrutiny.
Exactly. And Wallace's reaction, as covered by MSNBC, is to hold him accountable by calling out the evasiveness in his statement. She's essentially dissecting the credibility or lack thereof of this deflection.
Right. But isn't it a bit ironic? I mean, when you think about it, while Wallace is critiquing Trump's evasiveness, the insinuation also serves to fuel further media controversies. It's like a never-ending cycle of sensationalism.
Yes, it is. And that's why this intersects so much with the modern era of media, where every statement is amplified and dissected second by second. Did he really mean it? Becomes the headline.
And then, of course, you have Joe Rogan coming into the mix, whose take is equally critical and influential. His commentary has a way of breaking down these narratives in a style that's accessible to a broad audience.
Right. It's almost like Rogan's playing the role of the public's conscience, calling out both the statement and the administration's broader handling of the Epstein situation.
Yep. Do you think Rogan's involvement, given his huge following, actually changes the public perception of these events?
It might. I mean, his brand is built on a sort of anti establishment vibe. When he criticizes the administration, it resonates with a lot of people who already feel disenfranchised by mainstream politics.
Yeah, that's true. But here's a thought. Could it be that Trump's use of such charged language is partly a calculated risk to further polarize opinions? I mean, intentionally provoking a reaction?
You know, that's a respectful challenge. I'd say, yes, it's a calculated move. The polarization in contemporary politics means that every offhand remark is weaponized. And in this case, it's as if he's gambled that the shock factor might distract from, or even soften, deeper inquiries into his conduct.
So, in a way, it's diversionary. But does that risk, further eroding his credibility in the long run?
It very well might. The more he relies on such off kilter narratives, the harder it becomes for anyone to take him seriously on the actual issues. It creates a sort of feedback loop where sensationalism overshadows substance.
Right. And that's what Wallace is really hammering home. This evasiveness undermines the credibility of his whole stance and, by extension, his administration's handling of these matters.
Exactly. And what's particularly intriguing is that such comments also expose, in a way, the disconnect between political rhetoric and the gravity of criminal accountability.
Yep. It's almost like saying, hey, let's make this a game of who's more outrageous, rather than focusing on the necessary legal and ethical considerations.
Yes, like it's like he's choosing entertainment over clear, honest discourse. And that's dangerous because it normalizes deflection in serious matters.
And one has to wonder, how do these narratives influence the way the public interprets political accountability?
They definitely muddy the waters. When the discussion shifts from the complexities and real world impacts of Epstein's crimes to a simplistic narrative of stolen loyalty at a club, the nuance is lost.
Yeah. It almost feels like a modern form of political theater, less about policy and more about spectacle.
Right, and that opens up a broader conversation about how our media ecosystems are structured to reward sensationalism
Yep.
over substance.
So, in our view, both Wallace's critique and Rogan's commentary are indicative of a larger trend, one where authentic accountability becomes secondary to creating buzz and drama.
Exactly, and while this might keep audiences engaged, it's a bit troubling when the stakes involve potential lapses in justice and ethical standards.
And it forces us to ask, how do we reclaim meaningful discourse in the midst of such diversionary tactics?
Well, one approach might be to focus relentlessly on the facts and the broader context behind these statements, rather than getting distracted by the theatrics alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. It's like insisting on primary evidence and well-documented claims over sensational sound bites.
And that in itself is a call for more responsible media practices, where commentary is not used to obscure critical issues, but to illuminate them.
Right. It's a reminder that while provocative statements grab headlines, it's our job to ensure the conversation remains anchored in the pursuit of genuine accountability and understanding.
Absolutely. And as we continue to navigate this evolving media landscape, staying critical and informed is more important than ever. Thanks for joining in on this exploration. It's a conversation that's far from over.
Yep, indeed.